Now, social entrepreneur and co-founder for the Cesar Empowerment Foundation, a non-profit supporting internally displaced persons in the North Central, IER Jonathan-Ichaver, now joins us from Lagos for more on this story. Thank you so much for joining us. From a security standpoint, what does this continued failure to stop attacks in Benue South say about the effectiveness of Nigeria's counterterrorism and internal security architecture?
To be honest, we, from all the years we've worked and seen what is happening, I mean, there's not much left to say apart from the fact that it's very obvious and very clear that there's very little political will to end these killings. A lot of the residents, a lot of the communities complain. Even this very afternoon, I was talking to a member from my community in Kwande, where just, I think yesterday or day before yesterday, a man and his son were killed on their farm by terrorist headsmen, right, who went in and killed these two people who were just basically farming. And what we've seen happen time and again, and the communities are complaining, is that the authorities come and they arrest the farm people who are trying to defend themselves and the young men in the farming communities, but they do not arrest these headsmen. We are very clear that these headsmen are under this group called Miete Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria. We've not seen them brought in for questioning. We've not seen them pressed to present these headsmen and those responsible for these killings. So it is very, very clear that the Nigerian government, for whatever reason, has chosen to look the other way. We also understand that even in the conversations at the international level, they are constantly shouting ISWAP, Boko Haram, downplaying the role of these terrorist Fulani ethnic militia or terrorist headsmen, because so many of their Fulani kinsmen are in charge of our security apparatus. We have the National Security Advisor. So the questions arising is, why are they not pushing on these things? So it's very clear that the political will is not there. And the communities are beginning to say that this APC administration, President Tinubu, is ready to sacrifice the people of the Middle Belt for his presidential ambition and does not want to push and deal with this situation. So it's extremely unfortunate, and it continues. And we who work with the displaced were there. Yelwata happened. A few weeks later, after a lot of pressure, the IG of police came out and said, oh, they had arrested some people, and so on and so forth. Where are those people? Where is the investigation at? There's no more information. Instead, what we have, they are busy arresting farming communities, people from farming communities. We see what happened with Sunday Jackson, for example, in Taraba State, and what it took for him to be let off death row for defending himself. Yet, terrorist headsmen that have been responsible for genocidal attacks on communities in the Middle Belt, mainly predominantly Christian communities, they have refused to find their funders, to find the people that own these cattle, and to even hold the Cattle Breeders Association to hold their feet to the fire to say, present these headsmen who are roaming around in these places. They forget that there's an anti-grazing bill, and in fact, law, not bill. There's an anti-grazing act in position in Benue, and they've refused to obey that law. And the Nigerian authorities, Nigerian police force, has refused to prosecute these people.
All right, I'd like to know now, is foreign military intervention, such as involvement by the US or Israel now, is it a realistic or effective option for addressing the type of violence being experienced in the Benue communities at the moment?
The ideal solution is for the people to rise up and defend themselves, and for the state to do their job, their number one job, and the whole point of government, and why they collect all these taxes and harass everybody and say there are people in government, is to protect the people. That's number one. Their job is security. Where they fail, the people have the options to resort to self-defense. The people also have the option to call on anybody who can intervene to intervene. And if anyone can, who will save these people, so be it.
So what risks could the fact that you're inviting international bodies to weigh in on this conflict, pose, both in terms of escalation and coordination with, Nigerians' existing security forces?
Well, the truth of the matter is, if you look at Yelwata, right, I'm a woman. the number of women being raped on their farms, the number of women whose children are being killed, some of them, their bellies split open while they're pregnant. The Nigerian state continues to downplay these things, deny, hide, do all sorts of things. So to be honest, what more risk is there to face, right? So of course, the people in desperation, are seeking international military intervention. Now, from what we know of history, the greatest security any people can accord to themselves is to secure their own security. So it is time for these communities, we believe what is most effective is for them to hold the feet of their elected representatives, the governors, the House of Assembly members at both state and federal level, to hold their feet to the fire, to compel the Nigerian government and to compel the security agencies to intervene and to do so without fear or favor. Where they fail to, maybe it is time these groups got together and started recalling some of these elected representatives about the State House of Assembly and all that. And if the State House of Assembly members are serious about dealing with their people, if their governors are not ready to do what they need to do across the Middle Belt or in Benue, they should move to impeach the governors. Now, of course, we have all these issues. So some will say that's not necessarily a realistic solution, right? But right now, the situation is critical, and the people are very justified in seeking international military intervention. It is only those people who have not experienced these terror attacks, who have not been raped while they're on their farms, who have not been rendered homeless in the IDP camps, that will come and be doing all these, analytics and so on and so forth. Try going to sleep and having people run into your compound and shoot you and drag you out of your bed and having 10 headsmen gang rape you. Then you'll come and be talking rubbish on TV or I'm sorry to say, in various analytical rooms, at fora, in seminars, seeking international military intervention. When you're in a serious security situation, if there are armed robbers surrounding your house and ready to shoot you and get in and rape you and kill your husband and kill your wife and kill your children, are you going to care where the intervention comes from? You will get the interventions first and sort out the risk later. So that is the situation of these people, and that's why they're desperate and they're calling for international military intervention. Now, are they going to respond? Is that going to be a realistic thing? Of course, then the geopolitics of it. That's why I say the best option is for them to begin to look out for themselves and hold the feet of their elected representatives to the fire.
All right, thank you so much for having this conversation with us.